Good evening once again, and welcome to yet another episode of 10 Minutes with Ronald, the show that nobody's watching and nobody asked for. Again, this is my third show of this week. Clearly, there has been some things going on. This is also my last show of the week, and my last time I'll do 3 shows in a week, I hope. Unless things continue to go well. If they do, maybe I'll do more. Who knows? Who knows? All right, so anyway, here I am. We're going to talk a little bit about the things that have been going on around the nation. There's been a couple of shootings, and we want to talk about it a little bit. And I wanted to bring in my good friend Jahleel Hudson to talk a little bit, to come from a perspective. He is a black business owner, and I'll let him do a little bit of an introduction on himself.
Hi, my name is Jahleel Hudson. I'm, like Ron said, black business owner. I own Hudson Sauce barbecue marinades. You can check me out at www.hudsonsauce.com to order your marinade. Low sodium, all natural barbecue marinades.
And just to echo, I have had his sauce, the Hudson sauce. Pause. I had the Hudson sauce, and it is delicious. So please definitely have some and support black-owned businesses, which is a good segue into our topic. So the first question I wanted to talk to you about was the fact that me and you went to middle school, high school together at Hayfield, good old Hayfield Secondary. And I think me and you, we weren't, you were a year ahead of me, so we weren't in the same classes or anything, but probably learned the same things, heard the same things about history and about everything that's going on. And I think at the time we heard about civil rights, we heard about the Holocaust. Did you think back then that in 2016 we would be sitting here discussing racism as a viable and active source of oppression?
You know, Ron, no, I did not. So we went to high school together in Fairfax County. Mm-hmm. And Fairfax County can give you a skewed perception of the world. You know, everybody's so fun-loving, everybody's embrace each other, and you're a minority, but you're not like the representation of America where you're 12%. Mm-hmm. You know, and at Hayfield we were, closer to like 30s, and so and everybody got along, and it was funny in our school. If you look at it, like the most popular kid in our school was black. Yeah. Then the next level were like white kids. Then it was mixed black and white kids. Yep. So, when you're in school in that environment, you can go around believing like, hey, this multiculturalism thing works, and like racism is going to disappear because it's apparent, which is not reflective of everywhere else in the country where, school zones are segregated and have been. But in Fairfax County, where we grew up, we're disillusioned. Yeah. I mean, it's for the good, but I also feel like that multiculturalism that I see no color belief has also, come back to haunt us in a certain way. Okay. Because as we talk about Black Lives Matter, it's definitely a lot of those people who say all lives matter. They may come from a good place, but they're the same people who are the multiculturalists that see no color. Yeah.
So speaking of that, do you think that we came from a place where, because we were disillusioned or spoiled with everything that was going on with Hayfield, being able to be in the multicultural atmosphere, do you think that we did not see the types of racial tension that maybe were happening in the late 90s, 2000s, or is this something brand new? Are we talking about something that that was okay for a while and now has changed?
So my perspective there is different from you, as you may recall. So I grew up in Brooklyn before I came to Hayfield.
Brooklyn!
And so Brooklyn, New York, in the late 80s and early 90s, very segregated. There were billboards everywhere that said, say no to racism. Like I was literally the one black kid in my class, and my neighborhood didn't have any schools. We were a frozen zone, so we were bussed out 30 minutes to the white neighborhoods to go to their schools. So when I came to Virginia, seeing what was happening in Brooklyn, coming to Virginia was like, man, paradise. This is great. Yeah. I mean, there were the occasional, in my perspective, I would call them like the angry white males, like as much as a rap as, young black women get for being rude to a lot of people, like middle-aged white dudes are very rude to teenage black guys at this grocery store. You open the door and they're like, well, you should have opened it for me. There's a lot of entitlement there. And maybe it's an age thing, maybe it's not so much a race thing, but I mean, that's how I felt. I felt a little bit of that, just a hint of that, but not a whole lot of that.
Understood. So why do you think it's difficult for, I guess on that same vein, you were talking about people being used to being multicultural and being colorblind. So why do you think it's difficult for people today to understand racism as a viable and active source of oppression?
Well, okay.
And keep talking. I'm just checking to make sure our feed is good.
Okay. So, I think the reason why a lot of people fail to recognize it is, remember, the Washington Post put out a study, I want to say it was either last year or the year before, where it said 9 out of 10 white people don't have a black friend. And,
we're good to go.
A lot of, if you don't have a black friend or talk to a black person about, as a white person, or, as a white person, because you're the majority. If you don't have a friend who's a minority, and over here in America, the black community were persecuted at a more alarming rate. I mean, all minorities are getting their licks, but we tend to take ours more severely and first. If you don't have a black friend to talk to, you don't see that. I have friends, who are white, who grew up in all white communities, and they're liberal communities, and they in theory, they learn love everybody, treat everybody equally, this and that, and Seattle, when it comes to homosexual agendas, they're forward because they're a liberal place, but they actually have gay people there, so they know how to love thy neighbor and work with gay people there. Don't have many black people there, so you'll see them, people they want to. And sympathize with you. They want to be there for you, but they don't have the practice. They don't know. So they're part of the all lives matter. They don't see, like, they may see love everybody, and to them they grew up in this area and the police are good to them, but they don't know, like, when bad stuff happens, when your black friend gets singled out from the cops. I've been with white friends when I've been the black person who's been singled out by the police, and they're like, damn, I didn't, you joke about it, but that, because it's like a joke. It's a comedy sketch.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, we joke about it to hide the pain. A lot of people joke about it, don't know. Then they see, and they're like, oh, this is real. And now they have an example. A lot of people, a lot of white people in America, they want to be there. Some that want to be there, some that don't care too much, but they don't have a black person to relate to, and that's not just going to spontaneously just come into their family. If you're, who are the oppressors of American history, right? The white Christian male, right? In that family, you'll have a spontaneous homosexual baby. Some may not learn to love.
Spontaneous homosexual baby.
Well, I mean,
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nurture, nature, whoever argument, they can be a gay baby in that family.
Okay.
You may learn to love. Some may not learn to love, but some do learn to love. Now you've pushed the hearts a little bit warmer. Now some of that inheritance moves a little further. Now some of that,
So you're talking about, like, kind of acceptance through, like, infiltration.
Because that's
almost
in your family, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You're not going to spontaneously have a black person run to that family.
Understood.
And that's different. I mean, that's way different. And then you do have families where there is an interracial dating, because that happens. And I mean, that's part of the browning of America. Is definitely part of bridging the gap.
Yeah.
But it's not the same.
So to clarify, when you're talking about spontaneous, you're saying, like, basically I have a family and there is a child that is there's a child born into the family that is homosexual.
Yeah.
And now they're just there and they have to deal with it.
Yeah, because that's
because
like that's their offspring. So
okay.
If you're the hateful guy, one of your children could be gay.
I understand
but
what
if
you're
you're the hateful guy, the closest you may get to a black child is a grandchild.
Yeah.
Maybe one of your children marries a black. But you, the hateful guy, are not going to pop out a black child.
Understood. So it's the connection that you're talking about is not going to be there for somebody. So knowing that there's not going to be spontaneous black people, like, sprouting up in families, do you think that it's our obligation to try to change the minds of those that would be racist, that would be, or that don't understand, even those that aren't necessarily racist, but those that don't necessarily sympathize as much as we would like?
I think if we're the progressive and we're making the call to action, then I do think is up to us to engage. I'm not saying that everybody needs to go. What I'm not saying is that every black person needs to go out and engage, or every minority needs to go engage a white person. No. But what I'm saying is, don't shy away.
Understood.
And I think the onus is on, I think the people who are kind of escaping a little bit of this are those whites with an open mind. I think they're the ones who need to, who's the people who say, well, I want to, but I don't know what to say. They're the ones who I think need to proactively engage.
Absolutely.
And learn, because they're the ones who want to, but they're saying, I don't understand, I feel some kind of way. And to me, that's kind of a cop-out. Go engage.
So would you be open to saying that we as black people should be open-minded, whereas the onus should not be on us to do the engaging, but the onus should be on those white folks who are open-minded enough to find black people who are willing to engage and engage?
I'm kind of saying that. I wouldn't word it that way. I would say that, if we're moving forward and you have a white person who's engaging and honestly engaging and being, yes, engage that person. Okay. There are some people who are going to troll you in real life. Yeah. And that person who's a troll, you can't fix a troll. They live under bridges. Yeah. A troll's a troll.
A troll's a troll.
And I think those people, who are white and, see this, I think the onus is on them to say, hey, let's make a movement. We're only 12% of the country. They make up a lot more, right? They have a role to play in this. Too many times for us, it's like the victim has to be the one to reach out. How many times do you see where it's the black person has to take the high road after the butt whooping, whatever it may be physical, financial, emotional, however, you got to take the butt whooping. We got to, praise Jesus, turn the other cheek, and march through again. Too many times the onus is on the victim. Yeah. How about the onus on, I don't want to say the oppressor, because I'm not saying that those people are the oppressors, not the open-minded white folks, but like, you can talk to them. They will hear you. You have influence too. Absolutely. So if you have influence and you want to make a change, then the onus is on you. Okay. That's the word. That's how I word it.
So, knowing that we need to make a change and knowing the things that we need to do to engage, I think there is a tendency to swing all the way the other way and hear some black folks say that, well, before we could change anything, we need to change ourselves. And how do you feel about statements like that? I have a certain way I feel, but I'd like to hear you talk to that a little bit.
I don't have many words for that. I feel like that line of thinking is asinine. Yeah. Did we tell the Jews no Jew on Jew crime before we come fight Hitler? No. Yeah. Do we white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime? The crime within your race are comparable. Yes, we do have our Chicago. We do, but we're doing things like we're doing things to address that. Ironically, I was at the Million Man March. I saw a bunch of news cameras, and a lot of people told me we weren't filmed.
It was not.
They were willing for the violence. They weren't ready. They weren't there to see the unity. They were there for the violence, and then they want to criticize it. And Farrakhan, I know Farrakhan's speeches sometimes border on the side of anti-white. No, I know he gets there.
He's a little polarizing.
I know he gets there. I recognize that. But for this one, he was, and he was actually talking a lot about defending black women and bringing in the Native Americans in their struggle too. But but to those people who say, "What about black on black violence?" That's a distraction. Does black on black violence mean now? Oh, because there's black on black violence now, it's open season to kill black people? No. When you have an internal argument with your family, does that mean it's open season for somebody else to come and slap your brother? No, that has nothing to do with it. That's ours. And yeah, but the thing is, we're not a monolith. As much as we want to, we're not a monolith. So there are going to be black people who think a certain way. Yeah. Just like white people are not a monolith, because you got white people who care and white people who don't. Yeah. You got black people who are going to say there ain't no problem. You got black people who don't care. You got black people who say we need to take care of our own. Yeah. And I agree, we need to take care of our own. Yeah. We do. But they're two separate, arguments, and they don't. one doesn't say, oh, we don't take care of our own. The cops to treat us like garbage. No, it's nonsense.
And I think the connection that they're making is they're trying to say that we can't be upset about both, because I am upset about what's going on in Chicago. I'm also upset about police brutality and what happens to black folks in bad interactions with the police. But I think the problem is people don't understand the way that they're connected is in this very, like people always talk about black on black crime. The first thing I always say is, what about poor on poor crime? Because that's the actual connection. The connection has less to do with race and more to do with socioeconomic status. And again, unless you're willing to talk about white on white crime, which is the chief cornerstone of crime, then there's no need for us to even bring up black on black crime as this is the thing that you guys should be upset about. Because here's the thing, there's been plenty of black folks that have been very upset about black on black crime to no avail. No changes, you know that if I make another point, when we say police brutality and they say, what about black on black crime? That's the same thing like when we say, so and so got shot, but I heard he had a record. Yeah, like he deserved it.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think while thinking of the folks that say that we need to do better, that puts you in mind of saying what types of actions do you think that we need to be taking right now?
Right now, I think the first piece of action. I'm going to side with the millennials in this one. I think the first piece of action was Facebook.
Absolutely.
Was Facebook. Facebook is a real platform. What you're doing here is a real platform. That's the first piece of action. Engage in those conversations. I am not someone who blocks somebody who thinks differently. That is not me.
Hard to do.
I'll tell you why.
Hard to do. Go ahead.
I'll tell you why. Sometimes when you block somebody, you don't know what arguments they're saying. You don't know how to counteract that. You don't know how to really effectively debate that. So how are you going to change their minds? You ever watch Fox News sometimes? Sean Hannity will bring somebody on there and crush them. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they didn't watch Sean Hannity, but Sean Hannity watched them.
Absolutely.
So I don't block people. I let them reveal themselves.
Yeah.
And I know, and that also strengthens my argument because, everybody has faith when you believe something, you go along with it. But when somebody pushes you, then you're like, okay, now you have to.
Absolutely.
So I think the first step is the Facebook. I think the second step is, going out and, marching. And I think the third step, is this real action, writing your congressperson. That definitely needs to be done.
Okay.
The rally in front of the White House to push Obama, I think that's spot on. And while
do you think we need to push Obama anymore?
I think, personally, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, maybe I might be a little bit radical.
Yeah.
But this is out of hand. Make a statement. You're the president. You're going out of office. Black people have sworn by Obama, sworn by him, and I recognize for political reasons you couldn't be as pro-black as some of us would like you to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Recognizing some people might need definition that pro-black is not anti-white. Yeah, it's pro-black. I wish now that Obama is going to leave office, we have a Democratic nominee in Hillary Clinton. I think now is the time where Obama can say, all right, let me be a little bit more pro-black. Let me really speak on this. Somebody made a statement, right? Jimmy Kimmel cried about that line on national TV.
Yeah, he did.
Who shed a tear for us?
It's funny because you don't see the same reaction, and I think people brought up the gorilla as well, and talking about how that people didn't have the same reaction to these animals dying as they did to these men. But I want to go back a little bit because I see your comments, and we're going to get to them in a second. But I see people talking a lot about blocking people, and I have an interesting theory on that. Well, and I kind of hear what you're saying. I do think that having different points of view strengthens your own argument. That's why I want to hear what other people have to say, because like even like in ministry, hearing other people, like hearing about Muslim faith, hearing about like other types of faith, it helps me to galvanize my beliefs. It helps me to believe why I believe what I believe. And that's not to downplay anybody else's or anything like that. It's just to say that I want to hear what other people believe, and I want to compare that to what I believe, and I want to hear if it strengthens or weakens. So that being said, like when we talk about all lives matter, blue lives matter, At first, I do feel the same way, that it strengthens my beliefs. There are these opposite views. But a lot of times, and my friend Nicole said this, it is damaging to my psyche sometimes to see some of the stuff that they're saying. It hurts.
Look, I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't let that faze me.
It's hard. That's hard.
Literally, there's been maybe one or two people that I've ever been like,
yeah, you got to go.
You got to go.
Yeah.
But
so let me tell what when you say you don't let that phrase you, like what are the types of things that you would hear that you wouldn't block?
Okay, so I'm gonna go back a little bit further for why that doesn't faze me.
Okay,
right. If anybody who knows me knows my family, we're Rastafarian.
Rastafari.
I'm a Rastafarian with no dreadlocks, and that that was intentional. My dad raised this. Growing up, a lot of people question, am I a real Rastafarian? Imagine having your religion questioned since you were like 6.
By people within your religion.
Who don't even know me. Like people not at my church, but people from other churches. Since you were 6, by people questioning, are you Christian? Because there is a lot of Christianity rooted in Rastafari. I've been questioned since I'm like pretty much like 6, right? So I'm 33 now. I've been questioned my whole life. There's nothing harder than people questioning your faith. Yeah. So when people are questioning this stuff, I've been through. I've heard worse about my faith.
That's understandable.
Now I've heard. Man, what's her name? What's the blonde?
Tammy Loren.
Man, I watched it and I tried to sit through that. I suffered through that, Ronald, and I got about a minute in, and I was like, enough. That kind of stuff. The stuff that hurts, that kind of hits me is when they try to use the stats to paint you as a criminal. Yeah. But it's a general statement. I can't recall any one statement, but sometimes there's ways when they word that, and I'm like, you might as well just come out and just call me the N-word. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it feels like every time I hear people defending the actions of the police, defending all this, I feel like they're only being defensive. They're not actually trying to sit you and me down and say, listen, Ron, the cops have a tough job to do, and sometimes it's not easy, and they're going to make mistakes. They're not sitting us down and doing that. And if they did, I think I'd be more willing to engage.
I might have heard that from like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, like a couple people. And those are the ones that you could say, but didn't they make a mistake? They'd be like, yeah, these ones did a bad job, but don't hate all police, Ron. Yeah. I can listen to that. But it's these ones that are saying, he was a thug. He had a gun. He had it out. He was stabbing that other cop. You didn't see the invisible knife. Like, it's the ones that are saying all this stuff, and they're just being like defensive.
It's the one. You know what? I tell you what hurts when you have a good friend, and you like, for real? I thought I would have invited you to my wedding. We're that close. Yeah. And then you hear them say something, and you're like, that's the one. Yeah. That's the one. It's the person. It's like that person really close to me says something inflammatory. That hurts.
That, you know what? And okay, so for the moment, and we're getting a little, that's fine. If we're not on topic, it's fine. I remember when Trayvon Martin died. Oh, I'm sorry. When Trayvon Martin was killed, and I believe it was when George Zimmerman got not guilty. That was probably the blackest moment of my life. Because I think at that moment I was still in very multicultural, like, it'll be okay, guys. Like, man, this doesn't look good, but they'll get them, And I remember seeing the comments that people put on Facebook in defense of George Zimmerman and how he killed this thug walking home with Skittles and an iced tea. Seeing that's when I was like, I can't believe I was cool with some of y'all. Like, that was the day. I think that was the first day that I was like, delete, unfollow. And that's when I really had to really, as my mother would say, set my face like flint. And actually, that's a biblical scripture. I really had to get tough because I'm like, there's people saying stuff, and I'm like, there's nothing I can do.
And people who will come at you and try to call you a racist because it's like, oh well, you're. I tell you, one person. We have a. I'm not going to name names because this is global.
Yes, going on YouTube.
But there is a person that you and I both know.
Okay.
That went to Hayfield.
All right.
That had a baby last year.
Okay.
And you know the Confederate flag argument? Nah. I don't know if that person knows. Yeah. And I hope that person's tuning in.
Yeah.
You're a racist. Point blank period. Point blank period.
Yeah.
You're racist. That person is racist.
Yeah. The worst part is, it's funny how these racists back into these arguments. Like, they'll be talking with you like, well, you gotta understand, like, and it's like you can almost hear them about to say, well, these N-words don't ever, and I'm like, you're being a racist person. When they talk about the Confederate flag and they don't even know the meaning, like I had a former skinhead back me up and say, let's be clear, the flag was the battle flag so people can distinguish between the fog of war. He was like, but since then, it has been longer used to galvanize racism than it ever was for the Confederacy. That is a fact. That is not something I'm making up. That's not like speculation. Dang. And a former skinhead backed me on that, and people still wanted to act like I was making that up.
Let me take that and bring it back full circle.
Okay.
People say, why should we take down these, racist, statues to all these people? Now look at these police officers who are policing these people and see these symbols of white supremacy everywhere.
Everywhere.
You don't think that plays into their mind when they're policing these communities?
Yeah.
You don't think that plays into our mind?
Yeah.
When you know what someone said to me? I said to somebody the other day. They're like, police officers are scared. And I'm like, you don't think that person's scared?
Yeah.
You don't think that Alton wasn't scared?
Yeah.
You don't think he was scared? Think about this. He's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the hot spot for education.
No.
My man is selling CDs in front of a convenience store.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
double whammy.
I'm pretty sure his money's not up right. He's in he would be in the down, low education, low finances, in that spectrum. What he's seen, the way he see cops fling people and whatnot.
Yeah.
You don't think? And the thing is, he didn't actively resist. He just stood still.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
We've watched policemen fling people around like rag dolls.
Yeah.
And this guy's like this. You're not gonna fling me. I'm just gonna stand still. He didn't fight back.
Yeah.
Like if he actually fought back, I'd be like, you fought back. But he didn't really fight back. He just kind of made it hard for you to throw him down.
He didn't even do an Eric Garner where he was reaching out and trying to not be choked.
No. He just if you're gonna throw me down, you're not gonna fling me.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna throw me and mess because they'll jack you up. It's and you don't think that guy was scared?
Of course.
You don't think that guy was scared of the police?
Yeah.
And the thing is, the officers get to walk away and tell their story.
Yeah.
He does not.
And dead men tell no tales.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I mean that's the reality that we live in. You said something earlier, but I lost it for a minute there. But let's take a moment and let's go through some comments. I see everybody making comments, and unfortunately, I have to hold the phone away from the mic. So if I look funny, because it doesn't make that buzzing sound. So if it look funny, please forgive me. So I'm gonna scroll up to the top and see what we have there. Let's see. It froze for a little bit. Let's see what we got going here. Yes. Philip says, I'm going to use the comparison about fighting in the family. Someone that comes along and slaps your brother. Very good comparison. Whitney says, I'm an advocate of blocking quick as possible if had conversations and were shared and unable to communicate in a manner that gave my opinions any validity. I'm with that. Maria said, I unfollowed my first person and it took a lot, but hatred is hatred, spewing hatred constantly, no time for that. And let's be clear, blocking someone really does take a lot, especially when you're essentially in today's society, you're cutting them off.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're doing a physical form. Back in the day, you could just stop talking to somebody and make up a reason oh, I lost your number. Now it's I have a way to keep in contact with you, and you can see that I'm not doing it.
I feel like the unfriend is worse because the
unfriend is worse.
Because when you block them, they don't know that they're blocked. You just don't show up. But when you unfriend them and they scroll by and it says someone you're like, hold on, wait, I thought we were friends.
I'm not friends with that dude no more. The best part about it is these little memes that are coming out where they're talking about all the reasons why you're gonna get blocked. And it's like block, Blizzard. Oh, you gonna see this block.
The one with the mirror.
I don't see color. You gonna see this block.
That's a funny one.
Oh man! All right, let's see what's going. Whitney said, "I wish in all his 4 years of office, Obama spoke out as much as Jesse Williams did in one darn speech about the state of blacks in the U.S." You know what though?
Wait. Obama could not.
Yeah, he has to be everybody's president
because he's everybody's president. Yeah, the general can say certain things.
Yeah,
but the henchman can go out. Like if you're the boss, you say, "Hey, I want this. I want this cleaned up."
Absolutely.
It's the guy under you who can go out and make the real
Biden. What you doing? What's Biden doing?
I don't know. Did Biden make any statements?
Biden talks. See, but the thing is though, every time Biden talks, I get excited because I know he's about to no matter what he says, he's gonna say it with conviction. And there's a few times where he did speak passionately about black folks. But to say he said enough, I don't know if that's true.
Man, look, man.
Go ahead,
Ron. Let me talk about Biden and Black Lives Matter.
Oh boy! All right.
When it comes to white people who talk about black issues, if you're not passionate, I don't trust you.
Okay.
And for me, that's why I trust Bernie, because Bernie had passion.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't really like Hillary, because she was too robotic.
Yeah.
And so for me, if maybe she actually means well and she's going to do something, but based on my experience, if you are non-black and you care about black things, if you don't have passion, I don't really believe you.
I can accept that. I can understand where you're coming from. I think Bernie, a lot of people, his track record came into play, and the fact that he was around for civil rights, and people even tried to besmirch that. But I'm like, I did my first march about a year and a half ago, and when I have grandkids, I'm definitely going to tell them I was marching for justice. So I'm like, I feel like if you were there and you were a part of it, it's way more than if you weren't even there. You can't just say I was alive during the 60s. Say you were marching there?
Come on. Ron. Ron. Everybody and their mama marched with King, huh?
Yeah, that's true. But if you don't have a picture,
everybody
do you have a picture?
March with King. Hey, I was at Louis Farrakhan first Million Man March.
Yeah.
My dad took my brother and I. We were the first one. Then I was in 7th grade, and I remember how that one went down. And I went to this one. I've been there for Trayvon. I marched for Trayvon twice. I've been there for the Ferguson. I marched for Ferguson.
You've marched more than me.
I went to Howard.
That's true. That's true. You know what?
That was a march in itself.
The thing is, HBCUs instill something different in their students. That is one thing I will always give HBCUs. They instill this wokeness that you get upon graduating. Because I didn't get woke until well after I graduated. I would still say I was groggy. I knew there was problems, but I didn't get woke. I'm gonna say until it was right around that Trayvon thing, and I was like, this is something's wrong. And I started doing some reading. I started looking around. I started listening to people, and I'm like, something's not right.
Yeah.
Let's look through. Let me make sure I got some. Whitney, I don't think you always are born with passion. I think I wish we all were, but sometimes it takes the kind of loss that cripples you to develop that passion, which is sad. But I totally think I agree. I would agree. I would agree with that. I will say this. Oh, I didn't mean to turn that off. I will say this about Obama. I hope that lame duck term Obama, and the lame duck term is coming up. I hope he says a few things that aren't quite reckless, but politically could be reckless. Like if me and you said it, it'd be like that's nothing. But if Obama says it's like, oh,
I'm waiting for Obama to go on the mic and say real talk.
If I just want to get up there and be like, look, on the real, I ain't like none of y'all anyway, straight up, okay? And if y'all want to see me, I'm right here in D.C. till Malia graduates, all right? And y'all know where I'm at, all right? I got Secret Service for 40 years. What's up?
Yo, hey, I kind of want to see what Michelle says too.
Yeah, I'd love to. Oh man, but see, I think Michelle might be entertaining a future career in politics, so she might be careful. So I think it might be Obama is the one that could speak a little more freely.
I think you're right. Michelle Obama is not going to say anything, but Michelle Robinson, she might have told some people off.
She might have said a couple things. She might have said a couple things.
You know.
Any final thoughts? Anything you want to ask me?
where do we go from here, Ron?
Where do we go from here? I think you hit the nail on the head. I want to continue having conversations like this. I want to continue opening the door for dialogue. I want to continue to talk to my groggy white friends and wake them up. I think trying to do a grassroots effort of talking to people and trying to win the hearts and minds of people is the only way that we can truly convince people that there is a problem, and that we can, just as systemically as it came in, I pray and hope that we could systemically push it out. And I know that may be a little dreamy talk and not nearly as much action as people would expect, but this is how I operate. I operate one person at a time, going from person to person. That's the only place I know to go from here. As a people, I don't know if I can speak for that. What do you think?
I think what you're doing with this show, as I stated earlier, is great.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Great. I think it's unique as well. Just, the way you have this to make this platform. I hope it becomes viral.
I hope so too.
Maybe not this one. I would have had a better haircut.
Yeah, not with that shirt.
No. Not with the V-neck. But I'm in my house.
Yeah, hey, man, this is your house, man.
But I think, this same conversation that we have, like I said, the one thing is, I say just let's not be afraid to talk to people. And I want my white friends to realize, or my white allies to realize that in this conversation, you're going to do a lot of listening. A lot of listening. And when you ask your questions, be thoughtful and mindful of how you ask your questions. There's a hot topic, and it's racially charged. And if you ask your questions in a way that it seems offensive, we just, if you're trying to wake up, it's not. You need to know how to speak to somebody. But yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to let Jahleel have one more word. Again, he is a black business owner, and I'm going to let him plug his sauce, his Hudson sauce, his Hudson barbecue sauce one more time. And I hope all of you guys are out there will get some. It's delicious, one. And if you're interested in getting some, hit me up. I'm sure he'll give you some sort of 10 minutes with Ronald deal, if possible. Or not. Or yes, okay, yeah. Or if he can. And so reach out to him. So go ahead and plug your sauce.
Okay, so this is all natural, low sodium barbecue marinade. It's a thick marinade to cook and finish. The sodium contents of this is half that of most marinades, and the sugar is a quarter that of most barbecue sauces. And it's with molasses as opposed to high fructose corn syrup. So you get all that great barbecue flavor. It's a lot healthier for you. I'm in the DC area. I'm in about 15 stores. You can find me most Saturdays at the Springfield Town Center Farmers Market. If you meet me at the market and you tell me that you saw this, I'll give you a discount on whatever you purchase. In the Northern Virginia area, I'm at Nall's Produce. Nall's Produce is on Beulah Street. It's just locally owned business. And if you go to my website, www.hudsonsauce.com, at the bottom of the website, you can see every store where I'm sold. And if there's no store near you, you send me an email and I'll pitch it to the nearest store.
Excellent. So get yourself a bottle of Hudson sauce. It is our first unpaid sponsor. So we are more than happy to support black-owned businesses here. But again, I don't have any viewers, so I mean, I wouldn't expect them to pay anyway. So again, this is Jahleel Hudson. This has been 10 Minutes with Ronald, pending the name change, the show that nobody asked for and nobody is watching. You guys take it easy.